Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good afternoon. I want to welcome you to the broadcast. Thanks for joining. It's kind of a rainy day here in Missouri. Had some pretty crazy storms that are going through, and some lightning and thunder. So, if for some reason I was to get knocked off, please forgive me, and I will try to get you back on just ASAP. So, but anyway, I want to make sure that everyone can hear me okay. If you can just maybe wave your virtual hand at me. And so hopefully you can hear me okay. If you can, you have the ability to just kind of do a little virtual hand wave, or you can type in the chat box. Just want to make sure everyone can hear me okay. And thank you, Brenda. And just had a student of mine ask a question, so I'm going to make sure I respond back to her. Okay, thanks, Brenda. I appreciate that. So, I don't know, Brenda, if you were at the 121 conference. I did this presentation for the Century 21 folks in Orlando just a couple of weeks ago. It was called Learn to Recruit 24/7, but I want you to understand the principles for that presentation really apply to what we're going to talk about today. And this might need to be a two series session. I just wanted to kind of walk people through how I do some of this and the concept for recruiting 24/7. So we'll get right into it because I know many of you are busy and have things to do. So how do we do this? We have the internet today, and we're trying to, in this case, recruit real estate agents. And, I kind of reminded folks that you have to have the right tools. And I reminded the brokers in that meeting that if you're not out constantly trying to recruit for new agents, it's like planting seeds. Your business is not going to last very long. I mean, really, whether you're recruiting agents or you're trying to get business as a salesperson, if you're not consistently planting seeds or looking for new business or prospecting daily, then your business is not going to be doing uh, very well. And so, we have the internet, we have all this online traffic, and we have people that are finding us in all these different ways. And you can read studies about Google's zero moment of truth, and they tell you that people find us in different places in different ways. I mean, I hardly ever use the newspaper anymore for my real estate business. Now, that's not to say that newspaper is dead, but most of my business and leads all come through the internet. And so, I want you to just kind of think outside the box with me here. And I'm going to just go through a few of these slides, and then we're going to actually go in and I'm going to show you what I'm kind of talking about. And I'll show you in real time how I've accomplished this and how it's working for me very well. But it's an online marketing strategy. And it's something that really we've got to think about as real estate professionals moving forward in the future. I mean, you have to have an online marketing strategy. In fact, you know, we need to be open 24/7, right? And with our websites, we can be open 24/7. The problem is, a lot of people are coming to our websites and this is what they see. There's no one there whatsoever. I have an interesting tool that I'll show you here in a minute that's helping me. But the reality is over 70% of website visitors who come to your website will never come back. That's an alarming number, isn't it? But 70% of the people who come to your website will come one time and they will never come back to your website. And in reality, it's like we're not fishing the right way. I mean, we all pay a lot of money for websites, and this is how we're trying to catch leads. And we're not going to catch a lot of fish if this is the tackle and the tools that we're using. We want to be able to take those leads that are coming to our website, and even though 70% of them may never come back to our website, can we develop a, an online marketing strategy that will help us capture leads so that we can convert and turn more business over? So that's what I'm going to talk to you about today and how I'm doing it. And let me just be very upfront with you. There is a recipe you have to follow, okay? And sometimes I always want to think I can outsmart the recipe. I like to cook. I should have my GPS, a picture of my GPS, because whenever I try to outsmart the GPS always wins. And so, you know, there's a recipe you have to follow. And I mention that because sometimes I look at the recipe and I say, I don't like that. That's not for me. But yet, when I tinker with it and I change it, it doesn't work. But when I follow what some of these online marketing gurus are doing, it works for me. So there is a recipe to follow, and there are some ingredients that you need in order to be successful. So I just want you to know, up front, you got to follow the recipe that I'm going to show you, and you have to have the right ingredients. With those two plans right there, you're going to do just fine. So let's talk about what are some of the ingredients that we need. And the first thing we need is a landing page. And don't panic, I'm going to show you all of this stuff, okay? We're going to go through it and kind of put this together. The second thing you need is what's called a lead magnet, and I'll talk about that. A lead magnet is something that will entice people to want to give you their name and email address or phone number so that you can give them something in return, but now you've captured a lead. Now think about it. 70% of the people are coming to your website and they're never coming back. Well, why not try to have a lead magnet, a landing page and a lead magnet, so that when those 70% who are never coming back hit your website, maybe you can get 10, 15, 20 or more percentage of those people to give you their name and email address, or possibly their phone number. So you need a landing page. Number one, you need what's called a lead magnet. We'll go through some of these, so don't panic. And then you need an automated email client system. And there's some free tools out there, and I'm going to show you all of these. And with that, the fourth thing, which I talked about that you don't really need to worry about, I was talking to brokers at Century 21, is you might think about having a chief recruiting officer, somebody who can literally follow up on the leads. But let's rename this for many of the people on the call today on this webinar, sales associates. So you need somebody, a chief follow-up officer, okay? Because you need to be doing the things that make you the most money. If there's one thing I've learned in 40 years in real estate, I got my license when I was 18, by the way, in 1978. And so this is my 40th year in the real estate business. And man, if there's one thing I've learned, especially over the last couple of years, is that I need to be doing what I'm really good at. And that's getting in front of people and closing the transaction. Getting in front of the listing client, whether it's an expired or for sale by owner, and closing the deal, getting the listing. That's what I'm good at. That's what I love to do. And my wife and I got a nice listing this last week, and it's a very nice bed and breakfast home in Ironton, Missouri. And I was able to secure the listing, win the business. But you know what? From that point forward, I don't want to do the room measurements. I don't want to take the pictures. I don't want to put it in the MLS. I don't want to do any of that stuff. Just let me go get the deal closed. Now, I want to follow up with the person and continue my communication with them, but we need to look at what we're really good at. And why I say that is that the successful agents I know who are out there, they're doing what they're good at. But, at some point when a lot of these leads come in, maybe you need someone who's just following up on those leads for you. Maybe you need to add a buyer's agent. Those are the things that I'm watching really successful agents create these teams that are really good at. And so you've got to have a follow-up person is what I'm saying here for number 4. So number 1, be sure you have a landing page, which we're going to talk about now. Number 2, you need a lead magnet, which we're going to talk about. Number 3, you need an automated email system, and there's some free ones. And then you need somebody to follow up with your leads, whether it's you or whoever, because you don't want these leads coming in and we're not trying to convert them and follow up. So I just wanted to lay out the ingredients and kind of go through this plan, and then we're going to jump online and I'm going to show you how this actually works and how easy it can be to put this together. I mean, it's easy for me, and I'm sure for some of you, you're probably saying, hey, John, sure, that's easy for you, but my gosh, we don't know that much about technology. And I always jokingly say when I'm teaching this course, you find a 13 or a 14-year-old kid, and they can probably help you do most of this, or I can help you as well if you need some help. So let's talk about a landing page. First of all, there's several companies out there. There's a company called Instapage. They do a good job. Squarespace, which actually you can do a website with, they have landing pages as well. Unbounce, I tried this. I'll be real honest with you. I just had some difficulty using Unbounce. And then you have Lead Pages. And Lead Pages is a company that I've used for a long, long time. We'll go out and take a look at it. I'll show you some prices. It's a very easy to use product. I think it's around $39 a month, but it allows you to create some really cool landing pages. Now, just to back up, because I read an interesting book not too long ago, and they talk about the law of the curse of knowledge, I should say. And the curse of knowledge is when we know so much about a topic, we just start talking and we fail to remember that the person we're talking to may not have the same kind of knowledge level we have. So, and we do that. We can do that in real estate a lot because, we're so knowledgeable about title insurance and discount points and all these things. But the consumer, they don't have that luxury of knowing a lot of this information. So, a landing page. Some of you are probably saying, wait a minute, you lost me when you started talking about landing pages. And these tools that I just showed you are companies that allow you to build and create what is called a landing page. And a landing page, the best way for me to describe this, it's like a one-page website. We put websites up and provide resources and tools and ways for consumers to search the MLS. But a landing page, which by the way could be embedded within your website, so keep that in mind. I've used lead pages, which are landing pages, one-page websites, and I've kind of stuck them inside my website. And so the way a landing page differs from a website is it's really kind of a call to action. It's one page. Really, it may have resources in the form of a lead magnet that we're going to talk about next. In other words, you fall on a landing page and it's just really saying, do you want our free ebook? Sign up here. And along with the free ebook offer, there might be a video, there might be some copy or text, there's some really cool pictures, there's an arrow pointing down, and sometimes you might see a clock counter or a timer saying, this offer this offer expires in 3 hours, 12 minutes. And, they're trying to get you to give your name, your email address, and any other pertinent information they want to get from you. And so that landing page is really just there to try. It's just a call to action. Hey, we'll give you this, but in order for you to get this, we want to get something back from you. So Lead Pages is probably the best product out there. I've tried them all. It's very easy. I'll show you this in a moment. But with the Lead Pages, you just basically go in, change the pictures out if you want to, and change the ad copy. And you want to program it, and don't let that scare you. Just putting your username and your password to your email client or provider, which I'm going to show you, so that when people go there and give you their name and email address and phone number and mailing address, then in return, that landing page forwards that information over to your email client like MailChimp, which is free. And so now MailChimp takes that information and puts it in a database. Well, if you have 10 or 12 people that will request your free ebook or your free video or whatever lead magnet you offer, those names go into your MailChimp account, and then you can follow up with those people at a later date or over the course of the next few months or a year. Because let's think about it. With our email marketing strategy, most people may not be ready to purchase or sell right now. But if you provide them something useful that's helpful, and you use your lead page to get that lead from your website, and you capture their information, now you can stay in touch with them. And then hopefully over 2 or 3 months, they may say, you know what? Oh, Mayfield, he's a pretty good real estate agent. We get stuff from him all the time. And then when they are ready to buy or sell, we get the business. So here's another vendor called Infusionsoft. This is who I use, and this works with my CRM, my client relationship management system, and my database. Now, Infusionsoft, I want you to know right up front, it's a little pricey. It's a kind of a high-end database, but you need to understand I do more than just real estate. I also offer training classes. I also have an online pre-licensed real estate school that I'm operating now in 3 different states. And so I have a pretty, I'm not like giant or huge, but I'm doing a lot of things that require a more sophisticated database for me than most real estate professionals. However, there are a lot of real estate professionals who use Infusionsoft and a lot of big teams, but I just want you to know there's some other solutions out there that are much less money than this. And this is really geared Infusionsoft if you are, you're selling a product or products or some different things in that respect. So let me give you an example. Let's talk about a landing page. And here's what's really cool. When we have landing pages, you can notice that I customized this URL to go to my website. Now, some items I give to people for free. So we're going to come out here and we're going to just pull this up, and I'm going to open a new tab here. And if you were to go up into the address bar and you were to type in www.getyourvaloan.com right there, and you were to hit the enter button, notice you're going to immediately go to my website, and the video is actually here for free, but I do have the ability to capture some information from this page if I want to. Some lead magnets I provide for free, some I don't. Now with this specific URL, I use that, and want you to kind of stay with me here. And I know we're talking technology and I don't want to get too deep, but I want to try to have this make sense. I registered the domain name getyourvaloan.com. Right now, I have this pointed at my website. Okay? So right now it's pointing to my website, and I'm going to sign in, just show you a couple of quick things here. When I get ready to do another webinar for this, okay? So let me just pull up here. I'm in my GoDaddy account. This is where I register domain names. You can see I have a bunch of domain names here, and I handle some for some other folks. So getyourvaloan.com. There it is right here. So here's getyourvaloan.com. And when I go into this, if I want to scroll down here, in your control panel, there's a little thing called Manage DNS. Don't let this scare you. And down here, notice there's a little button called Forwarding. You just have to I called GoDaddy and they showed me how to do this, okay? And so look, I'm telling getyourvaloan.com, because that's what we're in right now, right up here. We're in the management of getyourvaloan.com. And I just come down here and I say to this URL, would you forward this to www.mayfieldre.com? Okay. Now, watch this. Let's go out here to... I just want you to really I want you to understand how this whole process works. And again, once you get you always have to really watch where you're typing there. Once you get the hang of it, it's really not that difficult to do. So I'm already signed in here. I should be at GoToWebinar. And I'm just going to jump over here and create a new webinar. Okay, so let's go right here to schedule a webinar right there. And right here in GoToWebinar, I can copy a webinar. So if I go back here, I thought maybe I had a VA, but let's just say, let's just call it learn how to get learn how you can get a VA loan today. And then we would type in our copy here, right? Our ad copy in our description, and then we would tell it when the session starts. And I'm just going to say this is going to start tomorrow night from 7 to 8 p.m. And I'll schedule the webinar. Now, there's lots of other things I have to do here, but I'm just wanting to show you how this kind of works. So now, once this is all set up, I can set the lender as a panelist. I'm the organizer. I can customize it with my brand and some different things. And now I'm going to come right down here and notice right here, invite your attendees. So if I wanted, that's the URL I need. So let's just click on that. And notice this would be the landing page. Learn how you can get your VA loan today. This is just one example. I'm going to show you some others. So watch what I would do now. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to highlight this. This is called the URL. That's the domain name for signing up for the webinar. If I highlight that as I have and I right-click my mouse, look, I can copy this right here. Now, all I have to do is come back to GoDaddy, and guess what I would put right here? I would right-click my mouse and paste. Then, when we would click on Preview, it would come here. And when I go to Facebook, or if I want to advertise or send out postcards, guess where I'm sending people to sign up? GetYourVALoan.com. See how I'm utilizing that domain name? And I go to Facebook and I say, are you a veteran? I target veterans in my community, active and non-active, renters. Facebook has all kinds of data and profiles. And I come down and I find out there's like 2,500 people in my community that are renting who have some type of military affiliation, active or non-active. And so now I tell Facebook I want to run this ad, and guess where I send people from the ad, which is a video or a really cool graphic or something about learn how you can get your VA loan. We want to be careful we don't violate RESPA. I don't want to say with no money down, but learn how easy it is that you can get your VA loan. Join us for our free webinar on such and such night. And when they click on the link, and in the ad it says getyourvaloan.com, they come right here and now they can sign up. Well, when the webinar is over, I just come back in, change this, and that way when someone goes to get your VA loan, or I say, hey, you can go find out how to get your VA loan, go to getyourvaloan.com, and it actually shoots them right to my website. Does that make sense? So I want to just see if there's any questions. We don't have a lot of people on the call, so I can unmute you if that would be easier. You can type your question in, but I just wanted to kind of show you how I go to GoDaddy, find a domain name, and then use that specific domain name to direct people to my landing page. Now, we were talking about lead pages. And lead pages allows you to create a landing page. And I'll show you some templates here so you can see this. And they actually host the landing page. So if this was, let's just preview this. If this was your landing page, and by the way, you could change this picture to be a beautiful home with kids on the ground. And right here, and this is a live workshop. You could have a live, if you don't want to do a webinar, you could have a free live VA workshop at your office or a first-time homebuyer seminar. I mean, whatever you like to do. Or, I've done these, and I think we've got a couple of folks on the call today who are actually from other countries. So I appreciate you joining us. But if they wanted to do a webinar or even a book, learn how to avoid the 10 biggest pitfalls before you buy a home in France. Well, whatever you use, this is your landing page. So when a person says, save my spot, when they click on this, they're going to be giving you their name and their email address, and you're going to capture that information. And then you do the workshop, and then you follow up, and that's how you can prospect 24/7. And I'm going to show you some really cool things that you can take this to the 24/7 format. Okay. So once it's done, you can put this on your website and people could look at it in the middle of the night. Now, look at this. I want to show you another thing and we'll jump back into the PowerPoint. This is my real estate school. I'm now approved in South Dakota and actually just got approved last Friday in Kansas. So we'll be having Kansas on here. I'm very excited about that. But on the homepage, if you scroll down, and right here, I have a career you can be proud of. This is how I prospect 24/7. Watch our free webinar to find out how easy it is to get your real estate license. So they sign up for the webinar, and here it is. So watch, yes, they want to sign up right here. Look what happens here. So I put my name and email address in, and it says I can pick the date I want, and I say, oh, I can watch yesterday's webinar. Well, that's fine with me. And let's say it's 2 a.m. and you're asleep. And so now one of those 70% of the people who are on your website that may never come back, they just saw this really cool opportunity to watch a video, and they're just going to watch yesterday's replay. You know, it's 3 a.m. What else do I have to do? I'll just watch yesterday's webinar. And so now they just log right in, and this may move me forward because I've shown this before, but this actually brings them right in to my webinar where they will hear me talk, where they can send me questions, because notice it's going to email. I'm talking right now, and they're able to watch this. But guess what I've been able to do? I just captured their name and their email address, and I can follow up with them. In fact, when we go into the my Infusionsoft, this person will receive emails from me over the next 2 or 3 weeks about their career in real estate. And I want to tell you what, almost everybody who's watched that has signed up for this school. It's mind-boggling. And so, but the key is I've got to capture their name and email address, and I've got to follow up with them. And so I can do all of that in the back end. So let's go back here to the PowerPoint real quick. And just wanted to show you a little bit about how this works and the process. And I want your mind to be thinking, what can I do? You know, what do I really get excited about with my real estate career? Who do I like to work with? Is it buyers? Is it sellers? Is it first-time home buyers? Is it VA? Is it farm and ranch? Is it international clients? You know, who do I get my most business from? Because that's where you're going to have to try to figure out what your lead magnet is and how you can attract those people and capture those leads, okay? So when we talk about a lead magnet, we're talking about, you know, notice if you look at this slide here, there has to be a value proposition, okay? And so when you look in the top left corner, in other words, I have a career you can be proud of. It's a webinar. That's my value proposition. So, you know, there has to be something that entices, or as you can see, the magnet there, that pulls the client into your funnel. And so I have this webinar entitled A Career You Can Be Proud of. And by the way, I want to show you a book. You know, when I said there's a recipe you have to follow and there's ingredients, I used to like come up with my own titles because I thought, I don't like that title. And I read this book, and this gentleman said in this book, it was a great book on how to, you know, grow your online marketing. And his name's Michael. I'll think of him in a minute because he's really a great guy. And anyway, Michael said, you got to buy this book. And it's called if you got a pen and paper, let me just pull this up because this is where I got have a career you can be proud of. So if you go to Amazon or Barnes and Noble, and you search for David Garfunkel, maybe it's Finkel. I thought it was David Garfunkel, but maybe it's David Garfinkel. Oh, it is. It is Finkel. I'll remember that next time. And that's the book right there. It's called Advertising Headlines That Make You Rich. And I'm here to tell you, some of his headlines may seem awfully quirky to you, but they work. Okay? And I would just download the Kindle version, look through it. He gives you lots of categories and lots of things, and then find one you really like and, use it. So I got that title, A Career You Can Be Proud of, from David Garfunkel. So that's my value proposition. It's a webinar. It's free. Doesn't cost them anything. That's my lead magnet. Okay. You could have an ebook. You could have a video or a video series. You could have a podcast. You could have a white paper. I mean, you can get as creative as you want, but there has to be a value proposition. That puts these people, as you can see, it's the magnet that puts them into your funnel. And that's where we have to then create the awareness, the interest, and help them with a decision and an action. And that's where following up. So even though we provide the value proposition, they're not really aware of us at that point. And the way we make them aware of who we are and what we do is through creating, following up, either through phone or email. And through those emails and phone calls, we need to help create some interest in our product and who we are to help them make a decision and take action to use our services. Okay? Now think about that. A person is thinking about getting a VA loan. They watch the webinar, they're in our funnel. So yeah, they're kind of aware of us, but that's about it. They watched this webinar. But if they received an email the following day that said, thanks for watching the email, or even a handwritten thank you card, that brings a little more awareness, doesn't it? If we continue to follow up with other emails, maybe a video email with a couple who got a VA loan from us, and they're saying, you need to use John. He did a great job, and, we wouldn't use anybody else. And, we didn't think we could get a VA loan, and we were really happy with our lender, and, we got in our home with no money down. I'm just telling you, those emails over an extended period of time help create the awareness and the interest in you, which helps them make a decision and create action, so you close the deal. So what makes a good lead magnet? I've been talking about a lead magnet, and I'm going to give you 7 quick things that I think make a good lead magnet. If you want to write these down, you can. If you want to sit back and watch, you can. But the first thing is you need to solve a problem, okay? You have to solve a problem. And, we talk about a value proposition, but that value proposition really needs to solve a problem. The book I gave you, and I apologize, I forgot I had this in here. His headlines are all about helping solve problems, okay, for consumers. A career you can be proud of. Does that solve a problem? How many people do you know probably hate their career, hate their job? I'm 58, and I'm seeing my friends on Facebook retiring from their jobs. And I'm like, really? You're only 58. I'm not retiring. I'm having too much fun. I love what I do. So, you got to solve a problem. Number 2, it needs to promises one quick win. Okay? So, how to sell anything online, how I make a full year's income in 7 months and spend the rest of my time traveling, stay in the loop, You know, a quick win's very, very important. Number three, you have to be super specific. Beginner's Guide to Being a Real Estate Agent. Whatever, be specific. Now, a career you can be proud of, I don't know how specific that is, but again, it depends on the audience that you're trying to attract. If you're trying to attract VA buyers, you want to be pretty specific maybe, and like how to get your VA loan or how to use your VA eligibility might be a better title. I don't know, but we need to be a little bit more specific. Internationally, most of buyers, the big question is, how do I buy a home in Mexico? How do I buy a home in France? And then the second big thing is, how can I be careful that I'm not making a mistake? So, tying those in, very, very important. And make sure it's quick to digest. And what we mean by that is, a free download, enter your name and get our switch kit. There has to be really quick and easy, and then it has to have high value. I mean, you really need to have something that is of high value, because remember, that's going to be their first real introduction to who you are. And so, downloading a free ebook, watching a video, make sure it has high value and it really sets you apart. And then they need to be able to get it instantly. Instantly accessible is so important. When you see a cheat sheet for writing blog posts that go viral, you want that cheat sheet now. That's what's so neat about my webinar system is that, hey, I don't want to wait till tomorrow's broadcast. If I can watch yesterday's, I'll just watch it. So, it needs to be very quick, and then it needs to demonstrate your expertise or UVP. Demonstrate your expertise or UVP. That's your unique value proposition. So, when I think about that is, if you do a video, you need to really come off being sharp in the video. Or if you've really helped people and people like what they get from you, you ought to have some testimonials if you're using that video. But somehow you have to demonstrate your unique value proposition. Now, again, I'm just going back that 70% of the people who come to your website leave and never come back. So what I'm telling you and showing you is a proven recipe, and the ingredients I'm sharing with you do work. Now, I don't want you to think that you're going to have thousands of people request your ebook or watch your video series. No, you may get 1 or 2 leads a month, but you know what? Normally what I'm finding out, those are 1 or 2 highly motivated and qualified prospects. And the other really great thing about this is you just set it up once and tweak it a little bit, fine tune it, and it's on autopilot. You could go out and do the other things you need to do. So it's not something, you're prospecting 24/7, and you don't have to be tending to this daily, except for following up with the leads that are coming in. So let's talk about value creation, because that's very important, and that's that value proposition. And we want to move them through that funnel, right? And, one of the things we have to do is remember that there's a lot of different people out there with lots of different interests and ways they want to get information. I use GoToWebinar. I love webinars. I'm doing a webinar now. I'm comfortable on webinars. I'm an old radio personality from my college days. So anyway, but I like webinars. You've got to find what's comfortable for you. Don't feel like you have to do a webinar. And I use a program called Webinar Jam. It's very interesting, but it's what allows me to do what I showed you on my my global real estate school, and it allows me to set up these webinars and systems where someone could watch yesterday's webinar, but I can still capture their name and email address. So, you've got to build your brand. You've got to be able to create something that has a value proposition. Now, once we create this landing page and we have our value proposition, whether it's going to be a free ebook, and I'm just trying, you could take our quiz. I've created some of those. Take our quiz. Here's a downloadable ebook, a cheat sheet. People like those, cheat sheet for buying your next home in Mexico. And you just have 10 or 12 quick bullet points. And then you want to tie in at the bottom. But if you need, for expanded details and information on buying a home in Mexico, contact us. We would love to help you. But people love cheat sheets. They love older folks like quizzes. They say 35 and above are really big with quizzes. A lot of the younger generation likes to watch videos. They're big on videos. You could have an ebook. There are people who like ebooks. And that was kind of the purpose for the previous slide back here, is that everybody's different. So we got to figure out what we want to do. So whether it's a webinar that you embed on your website, once you create the value proposition and the people begin to request the information, the question always comes up, what do I do next? Well, this is really a very cool product. It's called MailChimp, and it's free for a certain number of subscribers. And MailChimp allows you to capture the name and email address and puts it into a list for you. So when we go back, if we went back to lead pages, let's see here. We go back to lead pages and you create your landing page. We're going to go to a template and we'll go back to that same template we had just so you can understand here. So we'll preview this template. So you create this page on lead pages and you get a domain name at GoDaddy, right? And you're forwarding people to this domain, howtobuyahomeinmexico.com, or get your VA loan. They click on that, boom, they land on your landing page. Now, they see your pretty picture, your copy, your headline that you're using from David's book, right? Okay. So you've got this headline. Remember, you create, it's a lead magnet. It's a value proposition. They say, man, this sounds good. They want to sign up. They want to download the ebook, whatever you're using, whatever lead magnet you're using. The minute they click here, a box pops up and they have to put in their name, email address, phone information, and so forth. So MailChimp is this little piece that's in the back of the system. And all you do is put your username and password. Lead pages ask you for, do you use like for mine, I use Infusionsoft. So I just say Infusionsoft. Well, it has to connect with Infusionsoft. And the only way it can connect is if it has my username and password. You do this all the time with your Facebook account. When you log into something with Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, and it says, can we use your Facebook account or your Google account? And you say yes. And then it says, the little Facebook page pops up and says, hey, MailChimp's trying to connect with your Facebook account. Is that okay? And you say yes. That's exactly what you're doing with the lead pages. And so now lead pages then ask you the next question. It looks at all your databases in MailChimp because you can have multiple lists. You could have a first-time home buyer list and you could have a VA list, depending on what you're doing. And so Leadpages says, hey, John, you've got like 7 lists over here in your MailChimp account or your Infusionsoft account. Which list do we put the names we get from this landing page into? Does that make sense? And you say, this is my VA loan seminar or webinar. I want you to put any leads I get from this page into that database. And so Leadpages says, okay, great. And now you're all set up. So when people come to the website, they click on this, they give you their name and email address, it goes into MailChimp. And now through MailChimp, you go in and you say, here's the first email I want you to send out, thanking them for signing up for the webinar with a link to signing up for the webinar, or thanking them for requesting the ebook with a link to download the ebook. When you create the email in MailChimp, it will ask you, do you want to put an attachment with this email when we send it back to them? Or do you want us to create a link so they can download a file? And so you just set all of that up, and then you go out and say, in 1 week, I want to send this email. In 2 weeks, I want to send this email. And you can do that all the way out as long as you want. And remember, if we go back to the funnel I showed you, or the diagram, we have to get the lead magnet has to get the people into the funnel. And then our next job is what? Create awareness and interest in us and our product so that it will help them make a decision and have an action to do business with us. Okay? So this MailChimp's part of your ingredients, and look, free. And I think free, learn more. You can have it for $10, up to 12,000 emails per month, 2,000 subscribers. You are not going to go over that. And if you do, you're making a lot of money. So go ahead and pay the 10 or 20 bucks a month. It's going to be worth it for you because this thing's rocking, and you need to pay for it. Okay. But most of us, free subscription is going to be fine. Okay. So there are other choices. I just want to show you here, because you could use Constant Contact. You've probably heard of the Constant Contact. I actually corresponded with the lady who owns Constant Contact because I read her book and I put a nice tweet out, and she sent me a message on Twitter and said, thanks, John, for doing that. And we kind of had a nice conversation. She's really a nice lady, but there is a charge for Constant Contact. And then I use Infusionsoft. I like Infusionsoft, and here's how powerful Infusionsoft can be. Notice right here, when an email comes in, they get an introductory email. And then I wait 3 days and I run this campaign. Now, watch how sophisticated I can get. These are things that take place over a long extended period of time through Infusionsoft. You can do this. You can do that with MailChimp as well. The key is you've got to follow up. You've got to create that action, and you have to create that ability for them to make a decision. And the only way you can get them to know about who you are and to become more aware of you and the interest, and find out more about your product or the service you're trying to sell them, is to follow up by email. You have to. If you're internationally and you're trying to sell people from another country, let me tell you what, it takes a while. But that follow-up and those emails and those video emails with client testimonies, that can help. It can be huge for you. So you've got to do that as well. And then it's important that we use social media. We're getting these folks into our funnel. The really cool thing is that once we bring them in, we can create things like a lookalike audience or a customized audience. And that's where we literally upload their information, and we can create lookalike audiences, or in other words, Facebook will go out and find other people who are similar to the audience and the names and email addresses you already have. And now you can advertise your VA webinar to more people who have those same demographics or audiences that are there. So, don't forget, you have to create the value proposition, and that's the lead magnet that's going to put them into the funnel, and then they have to become more aware of you and create. You have to create an interest in you or your product. You do that through following up, and that's going to help them make a decision and hopefully take action to do business with you. So as you can see on the right hand side, you're hitting the bullseye every time and making money. Now, so that's kind of where we are in a nutshell. And I want to just kind of jump out here because I know we're just about out of time. A lot of this, and I kind of showed some of this today, a lot of this, when you create a webinar and you're going to have a landing page, it's really just a matter of, like I told the folks at Century 21, it's really just a matter of copying and pasting. So you would copy this and then go over and paste this in your email. So when I'm typing, I want to just show you a couple of quick things. And one other thing that I have with GoDaddy, and then I want you to kind of absorb this, think about it, and then let's come back and do a follow-up webinar in a couple of weeks where we really get into the mechanics of this using the free tools that are out there and how we can make this all work. Because I got a couple of things I need to build and put together. So it'll give me a chance to show you and it'll give me a chance to get some things completed I need to do, but also do a webinar and show you how I'm doing some of this stuff. So, you just go into your whatever, sign up for our webinar, click here, or click here. Now, remember over here, I go up here to the URL where this landing page is, and I right click my mouse and copy. If you're using Lead Pages, you're going to have one of this. In Infusionsoft, I have one of this. So then I just come out here to my email that I'm sending out to my people, and all I have to do is right click, and most everybody has this hyperlink in your email program, and you right click your mouse, you paste the web address in there, and you say okay. Now when a person reads your email, they come right here, they click on the link, and it opens up and brings them right to your landing page. See how we're doing that? So that's how you do landing pages. Now I want to show you though, some of you may say, I'd like to do a cheat sheet, or I'd like to do an ebook. How do I deliver the ebook to the person? Well, with GoDaddy, I also have you also get a storage space in the cloud. On the left-hand side of my computer, on the left-hand side of my screen, over here where my mouse is, this is my local hard drive or my laptop computer. Now where my mouse is, these are files that are stored in the cloud. I can access them anywhere I have a computer. So I have a folder down here called, let's just go down here and see if France. Okay, so that's not the one I want. I'm going to go to, here's some ebooks here. That's not the one I want. I have a file called documents. I wonder where that's at. There it is right there. Or Mayfield right here. So here is a Mayfield magazine. Right here, See this? And this is where this is where you need a 13-year-old kid, or I can help you with this. There's, of all these files that are located in here, there's tons of files. There's only one file that really matters. It's this one right here that has .html. If I get that URL, that's where it's located on the World Wide Web. I'm going to delete all of that. And now I'm going to right-click my mouse and paste, because remember, I copied that. Now there's one thing you have to do because I'm doing this, and you just learn this from the beginning. You have to delete this first part, and you have to replace it with http://www //www dot. And now if I hit the enter key, that should, whoops, did I do that right? Let's see. HTTP let me go to HTTPS:// I was starting to say it's kind of like Geraldo Rivera, and I may have picked a bad. http://www dot. We'll try another one if this doesn't work. Well, I'm going to go back out here because I may have something missing there. I started to pick just something that I had the other day. So here's my Mexico presentation that I did, and I'm going to copy the URL. And now this is where you would put your ebook. And by the way, ebooks can be, they can be PDF files. So I just have to delete that. www dot. Okay, we'll hope this works. Something's not working right there. It was working the other day. What am I doing wrong? But anyway, you get this URL, and I know many of you have things to do, and normally this works very well. And so I'm just gonna go up there, and maybe I just need to leave that. I know those don't go there. I was trying HTTP. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. I know what I'm doing wrong now. Colon / www dot I have to put my domain name with that. What happened was, and I'm glad I figured that out because that was really frustrating me. This is a big file, so it's going to take it just a second to open up because it was a PowerPoint I did in Mexico that I provided the students. You have to put your domain name in there. And my domain name for my website storage is businesstechguide.com. A couple of months ago, it was doing something weird, and well, that file must not be there. But anyway, a couple of months ago, it was doing something really weird, and I had to change that. But I'll have that figured out for the next time. But anyway, once this is stored in the cloud, it's really easy for you to be able to go out, take the URL and then, let's see, copy the URL. And when you put this in here, you have to replace this with the http://www.businesstechguy.com, and I think that's a / there. Hey, it worked. So there you go. So that's what I forgot. So you just have to put your website, your web address in there, and I don't know why I wasn't doing that. So now you can create a downloadable magazine or an ebook, and you can get their interest. So it's 5:05. Any questions, I'll be glad to answer. I hope this was helpful. And, I'm not selling anything. I just wanted to add value back to your lives. You can always pitch my name for a conference or a webinar for your board. I'm always, open if I can help in that way. But I hope this was helpful, and we can do a follow-up webinar and kind of get into this a little bit more where I can help you create a downloadable ebook or a Homes magazine. There's lots of these things you can do, and they're free as well. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and you'll receive an email in the next day or so, and I'll be sending it to everyone for a follow-up that we'll do in the next couple of weeks. But kind of sit back and think about, what could I do? What could I offer? How could I create something that would enable me to capture leads 24/7 and make more money using the internet. So thanks a lot, Sylvia. I see you down in Puerto Vallarta. Hello. Hope you're having a great day, and see my good friend Jane on there as well. So Brenda and Sherry and several others. So thanks for joining. Have a great evening. And listen, reach out to me anytime you have questions. There's no charge. I just like to help people out, and I always enjoy adding a little value back. And I do get lots of referrals and leads that way. But if you go to businesstechguy.com, my phone number and email address are at the top there. You're welcome to reach out to me, and hopefully my website will pop up here shortly. But here we go. So there's my phone number and email address. You can reach out to me at any time. Hey, thanks for watching, and hope you have a great day, and hope this was helpful for you. Thank you. And thank you for the kind comments. I appreciate that.